Are you a boomer? Are you thinking about moving to the Florida Villages located in Central Florida? In this video, I'm going to give you some pros and cons of living in the Florida Villages. There may be some things you're going to really like about it, some things you may not like about it. Hopefully at the end of this video, you'll be able to digest the information I'm going to share with you to make a more informed decision if you really want to move to the Florida Villages or not. My name is Tommy Gibbs. Do me a favor, hit the like button, leave me a comment, hey, and really, hit the subscribe button. Moving to the Florida Villages is no doubt the weather. The weather's great here. I mean, if you like outdoor activities, gardening, biking, tennis, golf, whatever you're into that's outside, you can do it here just about all year long. It's wonderful not having to deal with snow and ice and all that sort of mess. So your choice of the Villages for the weather is an extremely smart one, and it's an obvious one. My number 2 pro for living in the Villages is housing. The price of housing is really reasonable. It really will surprise you. I mean, you can find something for a couple $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, whatever kind of floats your boat. But housing is pretty darn reasonable, and they have great floor plans. It's kind of that easy living. Everything's basically on one floor for the most part. I mean, it's laid out really well for the lifestyle that you want to be, that's kind of easy going. Most of all of them have garages and a golf cart garage, because you're going to need a golf cart with you there. But the bottom line is housing is really reasonable. So another great reason for you moving to the Villages, and a big time pro, is the housing is pretty darn reasonable. My number 3 pro for living in the Villages is amenities. There's all types of restaurants there. Think about it this way. The Villages is like a huge bubble, and it's got a whole lot of little bubbles inside that bubble. These little areas of villages, as you would call them, no doubt. And they all have their own restaurants and entertainment. There's always something to do. You can drive your golf cart to wherever you want to go. I mean, there's like, I think over 80 golf courses or some crazy number like that there. There's all types of clubs. I once heard there's like 2,000 different clubs there. I mean, if you're interested in something, there's probably a club that you can join. And if they don't have the club, you can start it and get a whole nother thing going. But there's so much to do there. So again, if you're an active person, the Villages is for you, and that's why you're considering the Villages, and that would be a real pro. That's pro number 3 for the Villages. It's got so many amenities and so many things for you to do. Number 4 pro for living in the Villages is cleanliness and safety. The place is spick and span clean. There's plenty of staff that are there to take care of the grounds and that sort of thing, and it's safe. It's a gated community. There's little or no crime. I mean, it's an easy lifestyle. You have very little to worry about. And trash pickup and all this kind of things is all included. So, you know, when you live in the Villages, there's a whole lot less to worry about. You're out whatever time of day or night you want to be out, and it's a safe place to be. And I think, you know, for a lot of us, as we're in this boomer age group, safety is really important. And the Villages is a really safe place to live. Number 5 is location. Even though the location's kind of in the center of the state, you're so close to so many things. You can get over to the Daytona Beach area in probably an hour and a half or so. You can get to Orlando in the same length of time. If you want to head west, you can go to the Tampa area, St. Petersburg area, those beaches over there. It's a pretty easy place to get from point A to point B. So the proximity of the Villages is awesome. So, I mean, if you like other types of things to do and you want to break from all the excitement that goes on the Villages, you're pretty darn close to go anywhere you want to go. My number 6 is it's a very supportive community. When you live in the Villages, it's a very supportive community. As you have issues, maybe health, aging, mobility, whatever it may be, there's always someone there to help you out. It's a very supportive community. And that's difficult to find in some places. The Villages is just kind of like a magnet for that, I think. A supportive community is my pro number 6 for living at the Villages. Okay, I gave you a handful of pros, and now I'm going to give you the cons. And here's my first con. My first con is a little bit like the first pro. It's the heat. It gets brutal hot here in the summertime. I mean, it's like, you know, the humidity is off the charts. It gets really darn hot. So if you can't take the heat and the humidity, the Villages might not be the place for you. My number two con for living in Villages is there's a lack of diversity. Yeah, if you're really digging diversity in that kind of urban feel and a big mix of people, you're probably not going to like the Villages. Mostly the Villages is older, white people who are financially secure. I mean, that's kind of what it is. It's a bunch of old white people for the most part. So if you're really digging diversity, you're going to be a little bit uncomfortable living in the Villages, I'm sorry to say. My number 3 con for living in the Villages is private ownership. Now, what do I mean by that? It's one of those things that people don't talk much about, but you as a resident don't have a lot of control over what goes on there. In other words, you don't get much of a vote in how things are done and what they want to add and delete and all that sort of thing. So you don't have a lot of control. It's not like if you lived in a place or a development in a condo association and you folks made the decisions, everything that happens, you don't have a whole lot of say. And it's one of those things you don't hear much about in the villages, but the bottom line here is you don't have a lot of control when you live in the villages. My number 4 con to living in the villages is, get this, bugs. Yeah, in Florida, in the villages, we have lots of bugs here, yeah? I mean, I don't know if it's the weather, humidity, or what that draws them. We have a lot of bugs. But the biggest bug problem, believe it or not, is the love bugs. That's what we call them, love bugs. They come out twice a year. They come out in April and May and around September and August and September, rather. And I mean, these things are everywhere. And when you drive down the street, they'll be all over the front part of your car. And if you don't get them off in a hurry, I mean, they can actually do some damage to your paint. People have been known to buy these gauze that go around the front part of their car to protect their cars. So I would say con number 4 is the bugs. So if you're going to come to Florida, you're going to have to deal, and come to the villages, you're going to have to deal with bugs. All right, number 5 might be the deal breaker for you. Maybe it's not, maybe yes. It actually may make you want to come there. It may make you not want to come to the villages. Number 5 is political issues. The developers of the villages are Republicans, and an awful lot of the residents are Republicans. So if you're a Democrat, it might be a really uncomfortable environment for you. I'm not saying you shouldn't come there if you're a Democrat. Please don't misinterpret that. I'm simply saying that the political climate there is very, very red, very, very Republican. And if you're a Democrat, it could be some uneasy moments because they do like to talk, like you're sitting around with not a whole lot to do at times, right? So politics does become part of the conversation. And again, if you're a Democrat and politics are important to you, it may not be the best place for you. Now, that wraps up my handful of you might say, pros and cons of the villages. I've got another video right here that you might find interesting on the pros and cons of living in St. Petersburg, Florida. You may want to check it out. Hey, hit the like button. How about subscribe to my channel and put some comments down at the bottom. If there's something you'd like to hear me talk about, I do a new video every week, comes out every week for you. If you'd like something, some information on something, reach out, touch someone, say hello to me. And thanks for taking time to watch the video. Thanks and have a great day.